Welcome to the learning support video on gas laws. In addition to Boyle's law, the laws that we'll review here bring additional insight into how and why ventilation occurs the way it does. Let's start by investigating Dalton's law. Dalton's law can simply be referred to as the law of partial pressures. This law essentially states that gases exert a force on the surfaces they come in contact with. For this example, we'll utilize a cup. This cup will represent the atmosphere, or what we can simply refer to as the air surrounding us. The molecules that we'll often find in the environment include oxygen, represented by the blue circles, nitrogen, represented by the red circles, and carbon dioxide, represented by the green circles, and other molecules. So if we're to focus on one of these molecules, let's say nitrogen, we could say that these molecules of nitrogen are placing a given amount of pressure against our cup. Let's say it's exerting a force of 20 millimeters of mercury. If we then analyzed the partial pressure oxygen is placing on our cup, we might say that it is exerting a force of 50 millimeters of mercury. Last but not least, if we look at carbon dioxide, we might say that it is exerting a partial pressure of 30 millimeters of mercury. So what partial pressure means in this case is that a select molecule is exerting only a part of the pressure that's being placed upon our glass. If we look at this glass in totality, we would see that all of our partial pressures add up to 100 millimeters of mercury, which would indicate that the gases are taking up 100% of the cup's volume. Let's continue by investigating what is known as Henry's law. Henry's law describes the behavior of gases when they come into contact with a liquid, such as blood. More specifically, this law states that the concentration or amount of gas in a given liquid is directly proportional to the solubility and partial pressure of that gas. So we can think of it this way, by creating our own formula. The concentration of a given gas is equal to its ability to be dissolved in a solution in an amount similar to the way it existed before being in the liquid, which is our partial pressure. So let's diagram this process. In the first cup we see here, which represents our atmosphere, we have a certain amount of a given molecule. In other words, it has a certain concentration to it. According to this law, this molecule can be dissolved into a liquid in the same or similar amount as it was prior to being in a given liquid, which explains why our concentration is roughly the same as it was while in the atmosphere.